Hello everybody. If you are on the Southern Adornments page, you are in the right place, even though this is not Tamara on here right now. So I am her special guest today, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys and let you know about something fun we have coming up if you haven't heard about it. And I'm going to show you some fun techniques that you can use for painting your flowers. So if you are typically doing door hangers, hopefully you can utilize some of these on some of the cute door hangers that you're working on. So as you guys are hopping on, just to make sure volume is working, everything is going good, if you will comment below, let me know where you are from, and that way I know you're here and I know you can hear me. And again, if you guys are new to me and don't know me yet, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Christie Hawkins, and I own The Social Easel. So I teach local paint nights here in Springfield, Missouri, and I also have an online painting membership as well. And that is how me and Tamara met. So hello, Tamara, watching from the beach. I want to be at the beach. So yeah, Tamara and I we met online probably I think about 6 or 7 months ago when we both joined our own tribe that basically teaches us how to do what we're doing, and that is having online memberships. And we became fast friends online, helped each other through our businesses the last year, and it's just been so fun for both of us to grow together as creative business owners, as women, and support each other. And I love that. I love that in this world, it doesn't all have to be about competition. And we have a great relationship, and we cheer each other on, and we share a lot of the same fans. So it's really exciting that we finally got to meet. When was that? Just a few months ago in Nashville, which is where we're going to be going back to. So we went to a business boutique, a Christie Wright's business boutique, and Tamara and myself and a few other ladies that we all met in this other group finally got to meet each other in person. And it was so awesome. And Tamara and I got to be roomies and just really got to know each other better. And we have lots of fun things in store for you guys that we are going to be partnering with over the course of the next year. So, and probably longer than that. But the big thing is Nashville. So if you haven't heard Tamara talk about it yet, we are going to be in Nashville. Let me make sure I have all my information right. It is March 21st through the 23rd. And I will be teaching one of the breakout sessions. So there's going to be lots of different people for you to learn from. Casey, if you guys are familiar with her, teaches lettering and different things like that. So she's going to be there as well. I don't know all the guests, so Tamara, if you want to chime in and let them know who all is going to be there, she's posting the information down below. But yeah, it's March 21st through the 23rd, and it is in Nashville, Tennessee, and there are only a few tickets left, and the deadline is January 15th, so we're getting close to that deadline. So if you want to be there, if you want to learn from some of the best, if you want some hands-on, teaching from me and some of the other women, then you want to be at this event. If you haven't ever been to a creative event and you're a creative business owner, or maybe it's just a hobby for you right now, I can't stress enough how important it is to go to these live events and meet these other women. It's going to empower you. It's going to change your business or your hobby. Maybe it's a hobby right now. Maybe this will be the thing that switches it over to a business for you to start bringing in money for your family. So go. It's $250 is the price for the 3-day event. And she did say that can be broken up into 3-month payments. So if you can't do the whole $250, you can split that up over 3 months. But you have until January 15th to get your tickets for that. So when we're there, I'm going to be doing a fun project with you guys, and we're going to be painting on like a little galvanized tin bucket and something fun, spring, Eastery that you can take home and add to your decor when you get back home. So, see, Tamara says there is a room block at the Hilton near the airport where the event will be held. So she's putting all the information there, and I believe she has the link up if you need more information for that as well. So anyways, I hope you guys are excited. I hope you get to join us. And if I haven't got to meet you in person yet, even some of my own members, and some of you are on here too, what a great event for us to get to meet each other in person, and for me to get to teach you one-on-one, help you right then and there instead of via Facebook. It's going to be a lot of fun, and this is one of the first traveling live events that I have done. So unless you're in Springfield, Missouri, and you get to come paint with me at my paint nights, this is one of the only opportunities to get to do that this year. So just letting you know, that's what's coming up. And then if you can see behind me, I hate it when I switch the camera opposite. So the Winter Chapel is one that I am getting ready to teach in my membership this month too. And I am going to, real quickly here, I'm going to see if I can pull you guys up. If you want more information about what I do and where I teach and all that good stuff, I am going to pull this up for you really quick and post my website on here. Give me just a second here. You guys, I had the volume on. I usually have it off. I was watching a show on there last night. So if you want to learn more about, I teach acrylic painting. I do some watercolor and mixed media with my group too, but acrylic painting is my bread and butter. So I just posted my website down below. If you're interested in learning more, or you want a free painting tutorial and my list of my must-have colors, go to that website, just click on the link. You may have to wait until after the live broadcast ends to go there. But go to that, and then you'll just click join waitlist, and you will automatically get an email sent to you with a free tutorial from me, as well as all my favorite colors that I use. And you will also be first in line. We're going to do something special with this Winter Chapel that we'll be sharing over the next week. So you will have the opportunity to also get a free painting tutorial on how to do that Winter Chapel, which is one of my most popular ones. So that is what is coming up, and now we're going to get to painting. So I am going to actually switch you guys over and kind of do an aerial view over here with this so you can see what I'm doing from an overhead view. This is how I teach in my classes. So I'm trying to keep up. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to keep up with your comments. I know I haven't answered any of them yet, but Tamara's on here with me so she can help me. Hopefully I can get you guys over here without a problem. Yes, I still have my Christmas tree up. That's what happens when you're a business owner and you go straight from Christmas to getting back to work again. So I'm gonna switch you guys around here, and hopefully Facebook is gonna cooperate with me and let me turn you so you're not upside down. How is that view? Is that good for everybody? There's a little bit of delay on comments, so if you'll just let me know if that view looks good, shoot me some hearts, thumbs up, say yep, we'll be good to go. So I thought it would be fun. I have my mixed media pad here, which is what I teach a lot on, because this is kind of like, there's some of my flowers. This is kind of like a little sketchbook, except for my painting. So these are just some things. If you're in Tamara's group, you may recognize those hydrangeas that I showed you guys how to do before. So anyways, if you don't have one of these, I highly recommend getting a mixed media pad, because you can paint on it, you can sketch on it, you can do all kinds of stuff. All right. Yes, Tamara, I'm not sure who asked the question, but yeah, the ticket price covers all the projects you are making, and there's at least 6 projects. So you guys, I'm just going to tell you straight up, this is a steal. To get to learn from this many people who are very gifted in what they do for that price is awesome. One paint night with me is anywhere from $40 to $50 for a session. So, you know, combining all of these artists in one place, this is going to be such a fun group. You guys are going to have such a good weekend there. Hi, Miss Becky. She is a member of both of our groups, and she's just awesome. Thank you, Gretchen. So, okay, the first thing I am going to do, I just grabbed this piece of scrap wood. My husband makes me a lot like the palette you saw in the background there. He builds me palettes and all this fun stuff. And I have found, and this was just about a year ago, we started painting on wood, and I have found that I absolutely love painting on wood, sometimes more than I like painting on canvas. So those of you that are painting the door hangers, you're probably right there with me because that's your bread and butter too. But I just love how smooth the wood can be. So what we're gonna do today, this is just a piece of scrap plywood. I am gonna do like a wash over the back of it, and just like a dark, I'm taking some burnt umber and black, and I just wanna get a little bit of a dark wash over here. And we're just gonna make a pretty little like flower sign. If you wanted to, you could go back and add some cute lettering to it and make yourself a little spring sign. But I think it's fun. Challenge yourself to not always have to paint on maybe necessarily what you would think about. Find the scrap, find wood, find brick, glass. There's so many different things you can paint on. A lot of my students over the last few months have been painting on ornaments and little wooden signs to give as gifts for people, and it's just been so much fun to see the creativity. So challenge yourself to find something fun and new to paint on. If you go to craft shows a lot, which I'm sure several of you do, like I do, you see these artists who paint on like old books. I want to do one of those. I haven't done it yet, but like painting a new cover on an old book. So just fun stuff like that, and just turning the old into the new. So I'm just doing, this is just a quick wash of kind of dark brown. I'm gonna wipe off the excess here. And this is just another tip from me. When you're painting on wood, if you want to create, this is what I call a fake stain. So all you have to do is take any color of acrylic paint you want to, water it down a little, dry it off like I'm doing with my paper towel here, and you've created that stained look on your wood. Super simple, super easy, and way less messy than messing around with stain, which I hate messing around with. It turns out pretty, but it's kind of a pain. So let me see here. See if I'm missing any comments here. I'm gonna get a little bit of white. So I wanna leave my edges dark. Hi, Miss Tish. And I'm gonna grab a little bit of white. And I don't want too much. I'm gonna probably dab some of this off a little bit. But I'm loading up my, this is just a 1-inch flat wash brush. I switched from my dark one. And this is kind of what I call a dry brush technique. So I'm just gonna wipe off a little bit off the sides here. And dry brush because I don't want a ton of paint in there, and I wanna give it that like shabby chic kind of look. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of paint. I'm not pressing down really hard, so I'm just quickly kind of dragging through the center here. And I'm gonna leave my edges kind of dark around the edges. So you don't have to, this is supposed to be kind of messy. And I like that streaky look. If you don't, you could go back and paint it solid. And you could even rough this up more. You could get some sandpaper and add some more dimension to it if you want it even a little bit rougher. So my background is still a little wet, which is why you're getting kind of this grayish tone here. If you let it dry all the way, you can, that will become a brighter white. So, you know what I'm gonna do really quick? I've got a blow dryer right here, and it's just gonna take a couple seconds. So ignore the noise. I'm just gonna dry this really quick because I wanna show you with a quick second coat, once it's dry, how much brighter white that's gonna be. If you don't have a, oh, if I could think, a blow dryer next to your craft station, I would highly recommend putting one there. Just grab a cheap one from the dollar store or something, but it helps if you're impatient like me and you don't want to wait for something to dry on its own. See how much brighter that is? But the trick is don't jump ahead of yourself and try to add this second layer of white before that first layer has dried. Because if you do and you're painting with acrylic, it's going to get thick and gloppy, and it's not going to do what you want it to do. And you're just going to be fighting it. It's going to keep picking up that wet paint underneath, and you're just not going to quite get that effect that you want. So if you wanted to, you could come back around. I'm getting some of my darker color again. If you wanted to come back on your edges and add a little bit more, you can. I'm going to switch brushes here real quick. So how many of you have you done something like this with board? Have you done some little fake aging? Or do you guys mostly do door hangers or canvas? Tell me what you guys are working on or what your normal project base is. Almost kind of creating like a vignette around the edges here. And you can tell I'm a messy painter. I don't care. I always have paint all over my hands here. So that's going to be my base of what we're going to add our flowers onto. If you guys are just now joining and you want to share with your friends, that's the best compliment to Tamara and I, is for you guys to share our videos with your friends to let them know what you are learning. So if you've got other artistic friends out there who would have fun doing this, by all means, share the video and let them know what we're doing over here today. So I'm going to show you guys, this is why I have the mixed media pad, because I want to show you a couple different styles of flowers, and then you can kind of play with and decide which ones you like the most. So let me get my brushes here. I've got a couple small rounds. I've got an angled one, and then I'm gonna get a filbert. Here we go. All right. So the first thing I want to show you is how to do some quick grass, because we're going to add some grass at the bottom of our little sign here. So I'm just using a small round brush, and I've got two shades of green in there. So I've got like a bright green, kind of, it's called Apple Tart from Michael's, and then I've just got like a dark hunter green. So you're just going to load your brush up, and you're going to do like this flicking motion, okay? And this is going to give us our grass. So the trick to this is getting enough paint in your brush, but not pressing down too hard. So you guys see how I'm just kind of doing this back and forth kind of motion here. I don't want them to all come from one spot, so I don't want it to just be clusters like this. You could do that, but I want mine to go across the edge. So it's going to go across our bottom board up here. So you're just going to keep, say this is your bottom edge, you're just going to keep going across and overlapping. If you add some of the dark ones first, then you can go back and add some of the lighter green on top. I'm going to switch to, actually, I have a skinnier brush here that I like better. I think this one is a 0. So again, holding kind of quick flicking motions. I'm not pressing down hard. If I press down hard, it's going to give me this big brush stroke. If I press down lightly, I get these little brush strokes. So you guys see the difference? That is the same brush, and it's all about the amount of pressure that you are putting on there. And again, make sure you have enough paint in there. That may be more than what you would think, because you don't want too much in your brush. I will say, you know, in the 5 years I've been teaching, the #1 mistake people make is not getting enough paint in their brush. They underestimate how much they need to get the brush stroke to look the way they want. So load your brush up. Just be aware of your pressure that you're applying when you touch your board or your canvas, whatever it is that you're painting on. So I'm just kind of going back and forth and adding this grass in. So that's your basic technique for that. And then I'm just going to show you a couple little ideas for flowers. So we'll just have a stem kind of out here. There's all kinds of different styles you can do. So I'm just going to use these kind of random, and then I'll come up here and make a little finished piece here. You can come in and add some leaves on some of these. Again, I like to have 2 different shades of green in my brush while I'm doing this, just because it adds some contrast there. And these leaves don't all have to be like a certain shape. All different flowers have different style of leaves. So they don't have to be this like perfect almond shape there. All right, so I'm gonna switch back to my, this is a little bit bigger round. This is like a #1 round brush. And I've got all kinds of different colors here. I'm gonna start, this is like a dark blue, which I know seems odd for flowers, but it's kind of like a purpley-ish blue. And I'm gonna start with this one that I don't have leaves on. And I'm gonna start just kind of adding these little polka dots, okay? Now with this, I want them to be a little bit wider towards the bottom here. And then as I go higher up that stem, it's going to start tapering off. So all I'm doing is just dabbing. Now with this, you can get away with pressing down a little bit harder. The thing I would stress is to not stress too much about where your brush strokes are landing. Don't overthink it. Some of the hardest things for us to break is to not overthink what we're doing and just enjoy the process. Just enjoy what you're doing. Don't get too type A about it, too OCD about trying to get these perfectly spaced out. We don't want it to look like that because that's not what things look like in nature. They're all going to be clustered together and they're going to overlap. So that's dark blue, and then I've got like this lilac color, and I'm not rinsing my brush. I'm just picking up some of this. I'm going to come in and start adding some of that color in. But again, keeping it wider towards the bottom, and then it tapers. And you could even have like maybe just a couple little dots out there if you wanted to. And then I'll pick up just a little bit of white, and this just adds some contrast in, so we don't want it all the same color. So that is one type of flower. Then we're gonna do kind of like a little daisy. Let's start with a little burnt umber here. I've got a little bit of black mixed in it just to make it slightly darker. And I'm just gonna come on here and I'm just swirling around. It's a little oval. That's gonna be the center of our flower. Then I'm going to grab, you know what, I think I'm gonna grab a little bit of white and yellow on my brush. So there's two different ways you could do this. You could do this where it's opening up towards us. I'm gonna have this one where the flower middle is kind of the higher part, and then we're gonna have the flower kind of draping down around it. So I'm just gonna come from that center, and this is just a round brush. I've got white and yellow in there, and I'm just pulling down from the center. Now, I am okay with it picking up a little bit of that dark color from the center and pulling it in to the flower, because that is just kind of creating the shading for us without us having to go back and do it. So on this back side, I say backside or top, however you want to think about it, we want them to be short because they're bending backwards back there. So they're not going to be as long as the ones in the front. So just pull these little petals down here. And if you are new to acrylic painting, let's say you do something here and like I wasn't quite happy with the way that petal looked over there. In this instance, I could go ahead and fix it and just pull that that flower petal back over. If it's something that is just like, you're like, oh man, I just totally messed that up and that is not at all what I wanted that to look like. Do not try to fix it while your paint is still wet. It will just create a huge mess for you. So with acrylic paint, give it a minute or two. If you have a blow dryer, blow dry it. Then once it's dry, you can paint right over it, and acrylic paint works like an eraser. You can't see what was underneath. So as long as you let it dry, you can pretty much cover any mistake in acrylic painting, which is one of the things I love about it. You just have to be patient enough to not try to do it while it's still wet. So I'm just going to go back and pull my center back a little bit, maybe just a couple areas. Pull a little bit down. And now that I've got that wet again, I'm going to switch back to my petal brush and use some of that dark color to pull in and add a little bit of shading. In our flower again. So there you've got kind of like a little daisy. Hopefully that's helpful to you guys. Have you guys done these styles of flowers before? Not as hard as they look. Sometimes things look a lot more intimidating than they actually are. So we'll just do a quick kind of very abstract tulip over here because they really don't require too much. I've just got some like candy apple red and a little bit of like a coral color in here. And you're just gonna come on at the end of that stem and you're making like a U shape. And then basically we're just gonna add 3 little sections here. And then you can go back with your accent color, kind of fill that in. I like my flowers, you can probably tell this, I like my flowers to have multiple colors in them. I do not like one note flowers. And I also like brush strokes. So a lot of people really like to blend out, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just tend to be a little heavier with my paint, and I like the brush strokes to show a little bit. So I've got some kind of coral and red in there. Can come back with a little white and add a couple accents. So that's just super simple, a couple different styles there. Now, this would not normally all be together, but I'm gonna show you, hopefully I can overlap that a little bit. I'm gonna show you one of my favorite flowers are poppies. I don't know why I love them so much, but I just do. They're crazy wild flowers, and I'm kind of a wild flower, so I just love them. So I'm gonna load up, I'm using my angled brush for this. And whenever I do poppies, I get a lot of paint on there, like way a lot. So again, I like a lot of paint. So I'm just gonna start, load it up. I'm just gonna push this around. I joke with my class, I have my own word for it. I call it smooshing. Kind of just smoosh it around. So you're just pushing that paint into this kind of, you know, crazy random, somewhat circular shape. But we do not want a perfect circle. I want it to have these rounded edges that are the idea of the petals coming out. So an irregular shape there. I'm gonna grab a little bit of orange that I don't have over here. So poppies are red, but I like to do little highlights of some brights and darks in there just to give them contrast. So I've got an orange I'm grabbing and kind of like, it's called barn red, but kind of like a burgundy. So here's the part where you kind of just have to, again, let go, don't overthink it. I feel like this is a little shiny and you guys can't see. I'm gonna see if I can lower you down a little bit, if that will help you see what I'm doing a little bit more. So I've still got that original red in my brush. I do a lot of color mixing, but I want a little bit darker shade here. So I'm gonna take some of that burgundy color, mix it with a little bit of my red, and then I'm just gonna add these random brush strokes of color, okay? I'm gonna do it on both of them so you guys can see. I'm not overthinking about where I'm putting them. I just want there to be some areas of dark and some areas of bright. I'm gonna go back with my bright red. So you guys see I'm almost scooping this paint up on my brush and then just kind of laying it on there. So I am not blending. You're leaving these separate brush strokes, and it looks like a hot mess up close right now. It'll all come together. So then I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this orange. And I want there to be some little areas of highlights on here. So again, you see I'm just scooping it up. I'm just kind of adding, they're like little blobs of paint. And if you were doing this as a real painting and you wanted it to be thicker and really keep this you can see the heaviness of that. One tip of what you can do, let me grab it real quick so I can show you. Come on, container. This is called gel medium. And you can add this to any craft paint that you're working with. When you add gel medium to it, it makes it super thick, like a heavy-bodied acrylic. So if you like that look where it stands off your page, off your canvas or wood, buy some gel medium. There's all kinds of brands you can get. And then when you leave, like this is all gonna dry pretty flat because it's just craft paint. If I was to add that to it, when it dried, it would have texture. It would be raised off the surface. So again, right, kind of looks like a hot mess right now. That doesn't look like a poppy at all, right? But funny how these little simple things with paintings make something come together. And this is why I always tell my students, don't overthink it while we're doing it. Don't expect what you're doing to look picture perfect in the process. I know what it's going to look like in the end game, so you guys just have to kind of trust the process with me when I'm teaching you that along the way, it may not look so pretty, but the end product is going to be. So what makes this a poppy? The black center. So my way for doing this is using the back of my brush instead of the front. I'm not using the bristles, I'm just flipping the brush around. And I'm just gonna start adding these little dots. And they're all clustered together, they're all overlapped. It's okay if it picks up a little bit of your other colors while you're adding that in. And so then you get that center, that big black center that we see in the middle of a poppy. Got a little too much black right there, so we'll just go back and touch that up. So these look really pretty if you do a huge cluster of these together. Let me go ahead and add, I didn't add black in the center of this one. If you do like let's say you did like a little bouquet of all poppies and you have these all staggered around and clustered together, then it really comes together and it looks so pretty and just looks like a big cluster of poppies. And a lot of it has to do with that little black center that we add to the middle. Sherry asked if the gel medium stops the cracking. It may. Sherry, what paint are you using that is cracking on you? Is it just regular craft paint? Because I don't have a problem with my regular craft paint cracking on me, but it's going to give it more thickness. So if you are struggling with that, that may help you a little bit. All right, so I'm going to show you one more here. This is using our filbert brush, which is just a rounded edge. I'm pretty sure Tamara uses these quite a bit, some of the stuff she does. And you can just do these dainty little flowers. So I'm just going to pull these petals down to a center, all coming to this center spot. And then you can just come in the middle and add your little white center. So kind of like a starburst little flower there. So super simple. You could come back in and add some streaks of white in there if you wanted some highlights. And again, I like to use a couple different colors when I'm doing that. All right, so we're gonna switch over and I've kind of shown you guys how to do a couple different flowers, and now I'm gonna go ahead and move to my board and add the flowers on here. So if you weren't here quite in the beginning and you didn't see how I did the grass, now you're gonna get to see it again. So lots of paint, quick motion. We don't want to get too heavy-handed here. I don't want it to come from just one little pocket of grass. So I'm kind of going all the way across here. And you could have some ones that come out a little bit longer if you want. So what do you guys think so far? Have you learned some fun little flower techniques that you can apply? Hopefully so. And wouldn't this be cute if you were doing something for Easter? Throw in a couple little Easter eggs mixed in here with your flowers, and that would be so cute. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of my darker green to mix with this. Wrong bottle. Just to add a little bit more definition in there. And this is like a liner brush, so you get super skinny lines with this. I love this brush. This is from a liner set that I use that's in my Amazon store. They're actually meant, it's like a 10 or 12 pack of little liner brushes, and they're meant for like doing car models and stuff, but they're also great for detail work and acrylic painting. Can you guys see the difference that makes right away? That contrast. I just love that little things like that make such a big difference in paintings. So now I'm going to come in, and I know I want some of those longer ones. I think they're asters. Is that what someone just said? The purple? Yeah. I want a couple of those in there, so I'm going to make those stems a little bit longer. Let's see. Maybe we'll add one of those little daisies here and another one here. And I'm just going to show you, because this is just going to be like, kind of like a cluster of flowers. Another little tip you can do if you want to fill in and you don't want it to all just be greenery. I'm just getting a larger round brush, and I'm just going to come in and start dabbing these little dots. And they're just going to act as like filler flowers back there. Super simple, very random. The more random you can be, the more realistic it's going to look. So we'll add a couple of those in there, maybe some hot pink ones to give it a little contrast. And then I need more of my dark blue. Where did you go? Yes, here, I am going to, I think I have it pulled up here. Give me just a second. Let's see. I am going to pull up my store for you guys and post that down below. So if you're looking for those liner brushes, they are right there. So I posted the the link for that if you're looking for those specific brushes, because I cannot remember the name of them right now. All right, so I am going back. I know, Tamara, I can't wait for the Easter buckets either. So I'm thinking, you guys comment. If you are going to our Nashville event, comment below and let me know. You might actually get some feedback in the project that we're going to do. So I want to do, and it's going to be similar style to this, but we're going to be painting on like a galvanized Easter bucket. So there's a couple ways I could go about this. We could do flowers and Easter eggs, or we could do some flowers and grass and maybe like the back sides of some little bunnies, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. I just love the silhouette of bunnies, so I think that would be super cute for us to paint on the galvanized buckets as well. Awesome. Lisa, Amanda, Candace. Very excited to meet all you guys. It's going to be so much fun. And someone who said that, let me scroll back up here. Oh, Melissa said, makes me think I could actually paint. I love that. And that is why I do this. I love getting to share these little videos with you because I think a lot of time fear is what stops us from trying something new. For some reason, our human nature has convinced us that the second we try something, we're supposed to be perfect at it. And heaven forbid we try something and it not work great the first time, then we just give up. That's not how it works. And, you know, I was teasing my membership group the other day. One of them said, I just want to, their goal by the end of the year was, Becky, I think it was you, was like, I want to paint as good as you by the end of the year, which is totally, I mean, hey, you keep on practicing, you can totally do it. But I have been painting for over 30 years. So you can't expect the very first time you pick up a paintbrush to just automatically know what to do. Art and painting and everything that you guys do, sign makers, lettering, all this stuff, there is a learning curve to it. So I think we're just way too hard on ourselves and we expect perfection right away. And honestly, we should just enjoy the gift that God has given us to get to create and how fun that is. And just have fun while you're doing it. And don't worry so much about the end outcome. But just, you know, enjoy the process. So I hope you guys can allow yourselves to do that. And especially with like these little flowers, these are simple little techniques. And it's just to show you sometimes things that look complicated really aren't. All it is just a matter of adding a few more brush strokes or one little more detail to something that turns it in to the finished piece. We'll do another one right here. This will be a smaller one. So I'm just using dark blue. I've got a little bit of that lavender mixed in there. I'm gonna look, are we still, okay, you guys are good. I'm getting a delay on my feed. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting out on you guys. Michelle, I own the social easel. Thank you, Gretchen. I'm assuming that is Gretchen who posted that for me. And if you guys are just joining and if you're having fun learning these little techniques, I have go back through the comments at the end and I have a link posted where you can get added to my wait list. You just click the link, click join my wait list. All you have to do is enter your name and email and you will get added to my wait list for when I open my membership group back up. But what you will also get is a free painting tutorial from me, a full one. And you will get my must-have color list, so all my favorite colors that I use in my paintings. So I'm just going to go back and add a little bit of white in here. And I have a ton of, I do live videos a few times a week. It depends on my week, 1 or 2, where I'll jump on and show you guys some stuff. So if you're new to the Social Easel, make sure to go and follow my page, and you can go to the live videos tab on my Facebook page, and there's just a plethora of all kinds of different little tips and things I show you. So I love yellow and purple together. Can anyone tell me why yellow and purple together always complement each other and look so good? I'll give you guys a second to respond to that. What is it about yellow and purple that make them so pretty together? I'll give you a hint. It's the same with red and green. It's the same with orange and blue. Michelle's right. It has to do with the color wheel. Opposite sides. Yes, they are called complementary colors. So if you're looking at a color wheel, of course I probably don't have mine here right now. That'd be a small miracle if I did. If you're looking at a color wheel, anytime you see opposite colors on a color wheel, those are called complementary colors. So when you put them next to each other in a painting, you get this bold, contrast that is just by nature, God designed it that way to be appealing to our eyes. So when yellow and purple are next to each other, we're just drawn to it. When red and green are next to each other, Christmas colors, we're drawn to it. Orange and blue, or in my case, teal and orange. I love teal and orange together. So this is like one of my sunflower paintings. You can see the difference. Purple, the contrast of the purple and yellow together, how pretty they are. So, extra little art tip for you today, a little art lesson. Those are complementary colors, opposite of the color wheel, and that's why we're so drawn to them. So I'm just gonna come in and we're gonna add just a couple of these little daisies that we did in our first painting. Just a little sideways oval on the top there, and then I'm gonna go into my yellow. And I kind of want to pull, let me see what other color of yellow I have handy over here. That's not the one I want. I'm going to get a little bit brighter one also. And I will say the good thing about most of us on here are probably painting with craft acrylic paints. The good thing about that is we have so many options and they're so cheap. They're like 50 cents a piece and you can just have all these fun colors to play with. And if you can't find that exact color that you want, then you can mix. And I recommend everyone in my group, I like them to all have a color wheel so they can start learning how colors work together. And we also have, and that's in my shop as well, it's called a color mixing guide. So let's say there's just this really specific color you want and you can't find it in a bottle. You can use this color mixing guide and teach yourself how to make that color. So you find the colors you have on this little chart, and it will tell you if you add this to it or if you add this to it, you'll get this different color. So I love color mixing. I have a few little technique sessions in my group where we focus on that just to get people out of their comfort zone, learn a little bit more about art and how colors work together. So I teach full paintings, but I also like to teach a little, kind of like a mini art school for you guys. Share some of that background knowledge in case you don't know. All right, so that's with my bright yellow. I'm going to go back and add a little bit of my pale on top of it. And I actually want to pull in, I'm going to grab a little bit of my brown here. I'm going to come back and fill that center in again. Wipe off my excess, and I just want to pull a little bit of that brown out into my petals. So see how I'm just lightly dragging just the tiniest bit of that. If you get too much, what do? You let it dry, and then you can go back and add more to it if you need to. So I'm just pulling that wet paint out just a tiny bit out of the center here. And see how that starts creating that separation in the petals. And then we can come back with some white. Now yellow is a very transparent see-through color. So you might have to do a couple coats when you're doing something like this. But just keep in mind, if you try to add too much while it's wet, it's just going to keep glopping up on you, and it's not going to give you that second coat of color that you're looking for. So you're going to want to let your yellow dry a little bit in between adding those second coats back in. Yes, Tish is right. She said white covers happy little accidents. It sure does. And then I think I want to add maybe just a couple little white flowers down here in the mix of our grass. Why not? Just dab them in there. So that's your little mini lesson today, learning some flower techniques. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you get to come to Nashville and I get to meet you and I get to teach you in person. I'm going to flip my phone back around here if I can. Just ignore the mess behind you. Let's see. Is it going to let me? There we go. Yeah, that's my messy office, so you can just ignore that. So thank you guys for painting with me today. I hope you had fun. Go visit the Social Easel onlinepaintstudio.com if you want to learn more about the online painting with me. And then you can follow me on Facebook at the Social Easel. So super simple. Loved painting with you guys today. Thank you, Tamra, for letting me be on here. And we hope to see you in Nashville. So it's only a few months away. Tickets are $250, covers everything. You're going to have at least 6 projects that you take home. And you can split those payments up over 3 months if you want to. So deadline is January 15th. So make sure you get your tickets and join us in Nashville. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.